The Galactic Council prided itself on its order, its centuries-long reign of diplomacy and control. It was a body of ancient races, species that had risen to technological heights long before Earth had discovered fire. To the Council, humanity was an afterthought, a young, emotional species that had stumbled into the stars, all fire and noise. They watched Earth's rise with condescension, dismissing humans as dangerous savages, ruled by passion rather than reason. When humanity was first uplifted, granted limited access to the galactic community, it was not done out of respect but necessity. Earth's growing reach could no longer be ignored, so the Council extended a reluctant hand. Humanity accepted, cautiously optimistic, believing this to be the dawn of a new chapter. Seraph 9 was to be humanity's celebration. A colony world nestled on the frontier, it had recently been recognized as a formal member of the galactic system. To mark the occasion, the Council sent a delegation, a calculated gesture of goodwill. The colony prepared eagerly, welcoming their alien visitors with warmth, food, and ceremony. It was humanity's attempt to show they were more than the Council believed, capable of unity, culture, and peace. Among the delegates was a Council representative of high standing, accompanied by their young offspring, an alien child whose species valued lineage above all. On Earth, it might have been seen as an ordinary family presence, a casual inclusion. But in the rigid world of the Council, this child was a symbol of status, and any harm that befell them could not be tolerated. The children met in innocence. The alien child, curious and bold, found themselves drawn to the human children playing in the fields outside the colony's central plaza. Laughter filled the air as language barriers dissolved in the universal language of play. A game of chase began. Then it happened. A misstep. The alien child tripped and fell, striking their head against the sharp edge of a stone. Blood, deep violet and glistening, streaked across their brow. The humans, shocked, ran to help. A young boy, no older than 7, knelt beside the alien child, hands trembling as he tried to stanch the bleeding with his jacket. His voice quivered, calling for help. But the Council delegation arrived too late to see the compassion. All they saw was a human child crouched over their heir, hands stained with blood. The accusations began before anyone could explain. Assault! An attack on a lineage! Guards seized the human boy, wrenching him away. The alien child, conscious but disoriented, wept in confusion, their voice drowned out by the chaos. Pleas from the human settlers fell on deaf ears. To the Council, the sight had already sealed the truth. Justice, they claimed, would be swift. The execution was public. A platform was erected in the colony square, where the boy, barely understanding what had happened, stood trembling before the gathered crowd. Humans screamed for mercy, begging for reason, but the Council's envoy delivered their verdict with the weight of ancient law. An attack on our blood cannot go unpunished. The human child was silenced with a single energy blast. In that moment, the world held its breath. The Council delegation left as quickly as they had come, satisfied that justice had been served. They returned to their ships with cold efficiency, leaving the colony in stunned silence. Grief gave way to anger, spreading like wildfire through the colony's communication networks. Within hours, the story reached Earth. The response was immediate. The first broadcasts came from Earth's leaders, their voices tight with grief and rage. Asterisk. They killed a child. Asterisk. On every continent, screens lit up with the same message. The footage spread across the globe, the Council's proclamation of justice, the child's final moments, the crowd's horrified cries. Humanity watched, their hands clenched into fists. In that silence, the retaliation doctrine was reborn. It was an old promise, made long before Earth had reached the stars, now spoken with deadly certainty. Asterisk. We do not forgive harm to our children. Asterisk. The Council believed humanity to be emotional and undisciplined, a species whose anger would burn out quickly. They were wrong. Earth's rage did not burn, it hardened, taking on the weight of resolve. Factories lit up across the planet. Ships were commissioned. Engineers worked without rest. humanity would make the Council understand the price of their arrogance. Among the broadcasts, one message resonated across every frequency. Asterisk. They didn't just kill a child. They signed their own death warrant. Asterisk. Grief turned to purpose. Anger turned to action. Earth's skies, once peaceful, now churned with the roar of engines as humanity prepared for war. For the first time, the galaxy would learn what it meant to awaken the wrath of Earth. In their halls of power, the Galactic Council remained oblivious. To them, humanity's grief was little more than noise. They did not understand the lesson they were about to learn. The death of one child had been a spark. Now, humanity was the fire. The declaration echoed across the stars, delivered in every known galactic language. Earth's leaders stood together, a united front against a galaxy that thought them weak. The message was clear, unwavering, and burned with righteous fury. Asterisk. You murdered one of ours. You will answer for it. Asterisk. What followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Humanity, fractured for so much of its history, became a single force. Borders vanished. Nations, cultures, religions, all the lines that once divided them dissolved in the fire of shared grief. Across Earth, the words of the retaliation doctrine became a mantra. There was no hesitation, no dissent. They would not stop until justice was done. Factories roared to life. Civilian infrastructure was stripped down and rebuilt with ruthless efficiency. Passenger ships were converted into war frigates. Assembly lines churned out weapons in endless streams. Every city, every nation became a part of the war machine. Humanity had no fleets to rival the Council, no ships sleek and elegant, but what they lacked in finesse, they compensated for with terrifying speed and ingenuity. They built what they needed to win. From the shipyards of Luna to the refineries on Mars, the Iron Fleet was born. Massive warships, brutal in design, stripped of ornamentation and excess. Humanity didn't care for aesthetics. Their ships were weapons, floating fortresses of steel and fire, engines built to cross stars and guns designed to erase worlds. Each hull was stamped with names that burned with purpose: retribution, justice, fury. A galactic counselor, upon seeing the first glimpses of humanity's fleet, reportedly scoffed, calling it asterisk. A junkyard in motion. Asterisk. The Council laughed at Earth's efforts. To them, humanity's rage was noise. Their warships, crude and jagged, were seen as evidence of their inferiority. The Council didn't understand that these weren't ships, they were promises. Promises forged from blood, grief, and a resolve only humanity could muster. While the Council sat in their gilded halls, humanity prepared. Every able body became part of the effort. Scientists turned to weapons development, engineers worked without rest, and soldiers were forged in simulators and drills that ran day and night. Humans, it was said, did not go to war halfway. They embraced it, perfected it, because history had taught them how. For millennia, they had fought amongst themselves, mastering conflict until it was part of their very nature. And when they spoke, their voices carried across the void with an unshakable truth. Asterisk. They killed one child. Now they'll learn why humans defend their young with fire and fury. Asterisk. For the first time, the galaxy began to understand what set humanity apart. Other species mourned quietly, their losses catalogued and forgotten. But humanity's grief was not passive, it was a storm. Their tears became steel, their rage became fire. Where others saw tragedy, humans found purpose. To harm a single human child was to declare war on every human alive, and the Council was about to learn this truth in ways they could not comprehend. Speeches echoed across Earth and its colonies. Leaders addressed their people, not with hollow platitudes, but with words that made blood boil and hearts pound. Asterisk. They think we are primitive. They think our fire is weakness. They will learn that no force in the galaxy is stronger than a people united in rage. Asterisk. The soldiers cheered. The workers hammered faster. The entire planet seemed to shudder with the weight of its resolve. The Council, blind in their arrogance, watched from afar, still unconvinced. Their analysts dismissed humanity as emotional and disorganized. They viewed Earth's fleet, hastily assembled and brutish, as a collection of crude toys. "They bark loudly, but it will pass," one delegate claimed. But the humans weren't barking, they were preparing. When the final warships were completed, the humans painted their hulls black. Not to intimidate, but because paint was unnecessary. Their ships carried no banners, no diplomatic colors. They were faceless, silent, and unrelenting, much like the people who built them. Their captains swore oaths, simple but absolute, asterisk. For the fallen. For justice. For Earth. Asterisk. In the quiet moments before launch, a message was sent once more to the Council. There was no bravado, no threats. Just a promise, asterisk. We are coming. Asterisk. And for the first time, the galaxy began to feel it, the cold dread of inevitability. Humanity was moving, and they would not stop. They were not the children the Council had dismissed. They were something else entirely. The Galactic Council believed themselves untouchable. Their core world, Haven Prime, was a jewel of the galaxy, untouched by war for centuries. It was a place of serene beauty, sprawling fleets docked in orbit, and cities of crystalline towers that gleamed in perpetual twilight. It was the beating heart of the Council's power, the pride of 1,000 civilizations. But on that day, the skies above Haven Prime darkened. Operation Retribution began without fanfare. No warnings. No declarations. Humanity's iron fleet emerged from the black like predators slipping from shadow, massive engines burning cold as they pushed into orbit. It was not a grand entrance. It was an invasion, precise and brutal. The Council's defense networks flared to life, their commanders scrambling. To them, war had always been methodical, fought according to rules and decorum. Fleets clashed with elegance, treaties were honored, and battles ended before they began. This was something else. Humanity had not come to negotiate. They had come to destroy. The first strike hit the fleet yards. EMP bursts rippled through Haven Prime's orbital defenses, blinding systems that had never before known chaos. Communications faltered, sensors went dark, and Council ships floated helplessly as Earth's warships descended upon them. Human commanders knew they could not outmatch the Council in technology, so they didn't try. "We don't play fair," one admiral had said. Asterisk. "We play to win." Asterisk. The Iron Fleet opened fire. Railguns spat tungsten slugs at near-light speeds, tearing through shields that had never been tested against such ferocity. Missiles, crude but devastating, punched through hulls, detonating with explosions that lit the void. The Council's ships were graceful, elegant, built for intimidation, not survival. Their sleek designs shattered against the brute force of humanity's assault. The Council's admirals tried to adapt, barking orders to regroup and return fire, but humanity was everywhere. Smaller corvettes darted between their formations, striking like wasps, then retreating into the darkness. Guerrilla tactics turned the battle into chaos. Council fleets moved predictably, every maneuver textbook and rehearsed, but humanity exploited their rigidity mercilessly. When the Council attempted to retreat and consolidate, Earth's warships encircled them, pinning them in orbit like prey caught in a hunter's snare. There was no mercy. No hesitation. Human captains unleashed their full fury, coordinating strikes that crippled engines and silenced weapons. Council ships detonated one by one, their brilliant fires reflected in Haven Prime's serene oceans below. From the planet's surface, the citizens of Haven Prime watched in growing horror. The sky that had always been a symbol of safety now rained fire and debris. Their fleets, the pride of the galaxy, were being torn apart by creatures they had once called primitives. The bombardment of the fleet yards began next. Haven Prime's orbital docks, which had produced the galaxy's most advanced ships for generations, were reduced to molten slag. Earth's warships targeted the support structures with calculated precision, breaking apart platforms the size of cities. Workers and technicians fled in terror as entire stations crumbled into Haven Prime's atmosphere, streaking the skies with burning wreckage. The Council's leaders, safe in their ivory towers, watched helplessly as their strength was torn from them. They could not comprehend it. Why, they asked? Why this barbarism? But humanity's answer had been clear all along. Asterisk. You murdered one of ours. You will answer for it. Asterisk. The psychological impact was staggering. Council forces had always fought enemies who played by the rules, who feared their power. Humanity feared nothing. They fought with a cruelty the Council could not match, because humanity's cruelty had purpose. Their fire was not mindless rage. It was vengeance honed to a razor's edge. To the aliens who survived, humanity became monsters. They whispered of ships that moved like shadows and weapons that tore through entire squadrons in seconds. They spoke of soldiers who fired until there was nothing left to shoot, of captains whose voices carried no remorse, only the cold promise of retribution. On the bridge of retribution, a human commander stood overlooking the smoldering wreckage of Haven Prime's defenses. Reports flowed in, enemy fleets annihilated, orbital yards destroyed, resistance broken. And then, with the same ruthless precision, the command came to withdraw. Humanity had no interest in slaughtering civilians. Their message had been delivered. As the Iron Fleet vanished back into the black, they left behind a world in shock. Haven Prime, the untouchable heart of the Council, now bore scars it would never erase. Its skies were empty, its fleets reduced to drifting wreckage. The Council had thought humanity weak, emotional, and reckless. They were wrong. Among the ruins, a single message was broadcast to every surviving Council station. A voice, calm, human, and cold, spoke words that would haunt the galaxy. Asterisk. You taught us the value of peace. Now learn the cost of war. Asterisk. Haven Prime would rebuild, but its people would never forget the day Earth struck back. The day the galaxy learned to fear humanity. The war spread like wildfire. Humanity's vengeance, once a single strike against Haven Prime, became an unstoppable force that swept across the stars. Council fleets crumbled before Earth's relentless advance. Planets that had once been proud bastions of the Galactic Council fell one after another, their defenses shattered, their leadership in disarray. Humanity fought with the brutal efficiency of a species that had spent millennia perfecting the art of survival through war. Word of Earth's wrath traveled faster than the ships that delivered it. Entire systems surrendered at the first sight of a human warship. Council commanders abandoned their posts, terrified of engaging an enemy they no longer understood. They had called humanity barbarians, primitives, fools, yet now they whispered the name, Earth, like a curse. But the war was more than a military campaign. It was a reckoning. Humanity did not falter where others had. They thrived in the chaos of war. Where the Council's fleets broke under pressure, humans adapted. Where Council generals hesitated, human commanders struck with surgical precision. Humanity had no interest in drawing out the war, they fought to end it. Quickly. Absolutely. Alien soldiers spoke of human tactics that defied logic. Stealth raids disrupted supply lines deep behind enemy borders. Human ground forces deployed in small, relentless units that moved faster and hit harder than anything the Council had ever faced. Ships that should not have been capable of outmaneuvering superior technology somehow did, crippling fleets twice their size. Humanity had one rule: win. And they did. The turning point came when factions within the Galactic Council began to fracture. Some, out of sheer desperation, reached out to humanity, offering their surrender. Others, seeing the inevitability of Earth's victory, begged for mercy. It was in those moments that the galaxy saw the deepest irony. Humanity, the so-called barbarians, did not become the monsters the Council feared. Where they could have razed entire worlds and left nothing but ash, they stayed their hand. Their message had already been delivered. Now they demanded justice. The Galactic Council's leaders, humbled and broken, convened once more, not as rulers, but as supplicants. Humanity's demands were delivered without embellishment, spoken in tones of steel and certainty. Asterisk. You murdered one of ours. Now you will make it right. Asterisk. Earth demanded public acknowledgement of the crime, the child's execution, the event that had sparked the war. It would no longer be buried in Council records as a misunderstanding or forgotten as collateral damage. The Council, for all their power, was made to speak the truth. Humanity demanded restitution for the colony on Seraph 9. It was not for vengeance, but for principle. A people's pain would not go unanswered. Finally, Earth imposed a new law upon the galaxy, simple, irrevocable, and absolute. No harm would come to the children of any species, under any circumstances. What began as a declaration of vengeance ended as a law of compassion. Humanity, the species once mocked as savage, had reshaped the galaxy with their wrath and, in doing so, became its protectors. When the war ended, Earth was no longer dismissed as a backwater world. Humanity did not earn its seat at the galactic table. They took it, carved from fire and fury. But they did not sit as equals. They sat as legends. The species who had proven that compassion could turn to vengeance, and vengeance could give birth to justice. Across the galaxy, alien parents began telling their children stories of the humans. They spoke of their ships, their firepower, their resolve, but also of their mercy. Humanity became both a warning and an inspiration. A species to fear, and a species to follow. On Earth, the war was remembered not as a triumph of violence, but as a lesson. Humans looked to the stars and saw a galaxy forever changed, shaped by a single truth. Their grief had moved mountains, their wrath had shattered empires, and their mercy had saved futures. In the final broadcast sent to every corner of the galactic network, humanity's leaders spoke with voices that carried the weight of their journey. Asterisk. They killed one of our children. Now they call us guardians of them all. Asterisk. And so it was. Humanity, for all its flaws, became something greater. They were not conquerors. They were not savages. They were what the galaxy needed them to be, the fire that burned away arrogance, and the light that revealed a better path. The war was over, but the galaxy would never forget. The Council, once untouchable, now bore the scars of their hubris. And humanity, once mocked and dismissed, stood as a testament to what a species could become when it refused to break. In the quiet that followed, as worlds rebuilt and peace took root, one truth echoed across the stars, whispered in reverence and awe. Asterisk. Never harm a human child. Asterisk.